Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Wikia's Expert Showcase. I'm Eric Morrow, and I actually want to introduce a couple of super fans from our Shadow of Mordor community. I'm going to start with user Glowing the Great, aka Frankie. Frankie, how you doing today, man?
How's it going, guys?
Good, good. And then next up is user Tolkien is Truth 7, aka Trevor. How's it going, Trevor?
How's it going, guys? Pumped to be here.
Awesome. Well, and our special guest today from Monolith, we have Shadow Mordor Director of Design, Michael DePlater. How you doing, Michael?
Fantastic. This is fun. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. And sitting right next to you is Andrew Salisbury. Andrew, you're the community manager for the game, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Fantastic. Well, listen, let's dive right in. And if you don't mind, I'm going to kick things off with the first question just to kind of get the conversation started. And in the Bright Lord DLC, we get to play as Celebrimbor, who's a character that, we really primarily experienced as a wraith up till now. And on top of that, we get to wield the One Ring. So I'm just curious, like, how this whole idea, which is incredibly awesome, how this whole idea came about.
One of the main things we wanted to do, or sort of really strongly communicate, in many ways, what Celebrimbor's role was in Shadow of Mordor. He was filling many of the same roles that the One Ring was filling in, especially in Lord of the Rings. So firstly, he was representing that theme of power. He was representing that kind of, idea, and also the danger of the idea that might is right, and that the way to challenge Sauron and take on Sauron is only by fighting fire with fire and using his power against him. So he was summoned back in the beginning by Sauron to try and get hold of him in order to help him forge new rings of power. Talion was wielding him somewhat what it would have been if Boromir had have wielded the ring, because that was really, I think, our starting point. What would it have looked like if Boromir had gotten the ring? That just comes up again and again through the story of Lord of the Rings. What would happen if Saruman got it? Tom Bombadil rejects it. What would have happened if he'd taken it?
I'm going to let the fans jump right in because I know they're eager to get started. So, Frankie, why don't we start with you?
What new powers would come with wielding the ring, and would there be any drawbacks to using the ring in excess? Like, say, for instance, Sauron's forces being alerted of its use?
Two other things I think we wanted to really drive home strongly with the Bright Lord is the danger of using the ring. Celebrimbor, in using the Ring of Power, absolutely is on this dark path, and I think we're less ambiguous about that. He really is, in many ways, dooming himself by using the ring. And also that idea, rather than saying, okay, it's the One Ring, it makes you invisible, but the power of the ring is to multiply or enhance whatever the inherent power is of the wielder.
Trevor, you're up, man.
Something that came up for me that I was really, really interested to know, Michael, whenever I kind of heard, and we'd been speculating on the wiki for a really, really long time, as you guys know, on who the Wraith was going to be. And I was just wondering, at kind of the beginning of conception, of the game, who was the first guy to raise their hand and say, hey, what about Celebrimbor?
We were looking very much at Boromir and Galadriel. And then I think it really came from researching, and looking more into the history of the Rings of Power. Celebrimbor kind of clicked into place because he kind of had all the components that we want. He absolutely had a very strong connection with Sauron.
Yeah, and I think, too, from a perspective of just creativity, obviously he had such a well-defined role within Middle-earth and obviously the creation of the Rings of Power, but because he wasn't someone that had been explored really before this point, it allowed us an opportunity to kind of really realize him and try and establish Celebrimbor.
My question focused a little bit more on the DLC. Will we be able to continue playing as Celebrimbor once the DLC quest is complete?
We haven't. We sort of kept it as standalone. It was really it's a sort of self-contained experience and a prequel. We have got the skin though.
Yeah, absolutely. You can play as Celebrimbor in the game.
Well, I'm gonna jump in there. I'm gonna ask more of a reflective question, if you will. The Wikia community, we've been really lucky because we've got to kind of tag along with you guys for a decent portion of your journey. If we kind of treat the Bright Lord as kind of this crescendo, how does it feel to kind of look back and reflect on the entire experience?
I mean, obviously we have been thrilled to have a community that is this engaged and this invested in spending time with us. It's like all of us are out there reading it and interacting in every way that we can. And so to have people that are as engaged, that are building wiki pages around just the script on Urfile or whatever the case may be. Like, it's just been so energizing and exciting to have that around. Like, I can't overstate it enough.
Michael, I've got a little bit of a question about your personal playthrough. What was your own personal favorite, like, Nemesis system encounter?
I can't remember the guy's name exactly, but he was big, and he was a berserker, and he'd killed me a few times. Finally tracked him down, came up on him around this campfire, and it was using his, he still had a fear going, and so I snuck up. I didn't want to get in combat with this guy. I shot him, the fire took him, he was on fire, he was sprinting away in terror, burning, and then it was one of my followers came out, appeared, and grabbed him, and did this like sync action, and just was slamming his flaming head into the ground, and I'd never seen that sort of combination before, and in that moment, I just love that guy, that follower, and he was the one then for the trophy that I took all the way up and made the war chief, and I gave him like 8 bodyguards, and he was cool.
Awesome.
Cool.
They make it personal.
Yeah.
Well, very cool, guys. I want to give everybody on the line here a special thank you. Frankie, Trevor, thanks for joining us today, and thanks for all your great and hard work on the community. And Andy, Michael, thank you so much for taking the time to kind of chat with us today.
Thank you
Thank
so much
you
for having
very
us.
much. See you later.